Welcome, everybody.
Hello and welcome to Lulu's Way, Healthy Food, Healthy Life. My name is Nicole and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be your host this evening. To keep this meeting free from distraction, we ask that all in attendance please mute yourselves unless you are speaking. We also ask that you keep the video mode turned off if you are doing anything other than sitting and participating in this meeting so we can minimize distraction. In this community, we gather to support, encourage, and inspire on the benefits of nutrition, weight loss, wellness, and the joy that comes from choosing to serve yourself well. We are not medically trained, nor do we have formal training in nutrition. We come together here for the sole purpose of providing support, sharing experiences, and promoting a healthy lifestyle. It may be wise to check with your healthcare professional with any dietary suggestions or advice you receive from this group discussion, particularly if you have health challenges. Individuals in this group may have different ideas on how to eat healthy. Just figure out what works best for you and do it your way.
Excellent. Thanks, Nicole. So, what we're going to talk about tonight, really quickly before we start the meeting, we're going to talk about, we're going to roll out a new format that we're going to start beginning tonight. And we're very excited about it. Nicole and I had a discussion about how we have our typical format is that we come up with a topic every week, and we're, obviously we're duplicating them because there's only so many topics, but there's always new things that come up, so it's wonderful. So what we decided to do was to have all these topics, like a list of topics that we're going to just go through. Nicole, will you explain it?
Yeah. I would say they're overarching topics that we're just going to cycle through repeatedly. Yeah. So the topics are including things like food preparation, motivation, meal ideas, traveling and socializing, challenges and struggles, non-scale victories, maintenance, and general Q&A. So we will have a format where we'll talk on each subject as long as we want to, as long as people want to talk about it. When we've kind of depleted the conversation on that, we'll move on to the next topic. So it might be in the same meeting that we go through 2 or 3. It might be one meeting and we're still on the same one, but just a way to cycle around these topics repeatedly.
So we have, like, the new format will be read next week, which kind of explains how the meetings will go. So bear with us while we work out the kinks in it. But if we were going to start on that list as the order that they're in, what's the first one? What's the first topic?
Food preparation.
Food preparation. Okay. And so now wherever we leave off, we'll pick up next week. So if we get through 2 or 3 or 4 or 1, whatever's next on the list. So we'll always be just cycling through all the different topics.
This doesn't mean if you have an idea for a topic that you can still suggest it. You can let me know, but and under these main categories there are nuances. Like there's different things that might come up that is a specific subtopic. So just so you know, these aren't the only topics we're going to talk about. If you have an idea or you want to drill into something, or you're having an issue that's right now, you can always bring that up. So I just wanted you to know that we're open for more ideas. If you have can we please talk about this at some point, and it's not one of those,
right,
let me know.
Yeah. And Nicole went through like all the videos that we have like to date on YouTube, these meetings, and went through kind of all the different topics. And she said basically they all kind of fall under one of these in some way. So, if we're on a topic and you share something that's not on the topic, it's no big deal, because we want you to talk about what you need to talk about. But this way we figured we could just kind of cycle through all the different topics.
Yep, and this is our meeting, so it's your ideas are wanted. Yeah. And if, like I said, if you need something, if you want to talk about something, Q&A applies to all of them. So there's time, I think, in each category. But yeah, just holler if you want to talk about something specific.
Yeah, good. So meal preparation. In my world, it's first. It's first, I have, like, already I know, like tonight after I finish my dinner, I know I have veggies cooked for tomorrow's lunch. I'm all set with that. I don't have to think about cooking veggies. I have all the salad fixings for dinner tomorrow night. I have sweet potatoes cooked. I have quinoa cooked. I'm all set with grains, but I ran out of protein. So I know I have the protein I need for breakfast tomorrow, and I know that either tonight after this meeting or tomorrow morning after breakfast and before lunch, before I do anything, I'm going to make sure I cook up the protein I need. So it's really basically, if you just take inventory, and I don't want to cook, I don't want to say I'm going to cook tomorrow morning and I'm going to cook chicken and I'm going to cook veggies because I'm cooking. Let me just cook. I don't want to get ahead. I don't want things to spoil. I want to eat what I have available and cook as I need, and if something came up tomorrow morning and I couldn't cook, I have cans of mackerel that I enjoy. It tastes pretty much like tuna, and it's packed in water, and I can open those cans and that could be my protein, so and also if you eat beans, you could have a can of beans and rinse them off and weigh the 6 ounces, then you have a protein. So it's not that I have to do it if something comes up, but in my world, it's like those things, I kind of save those, the cans of mackerel and stuff like that. I kind of save those for when I'm in a pinch. But tomorrow morning, I am certain to be getting that cooked and ready for myself, because it's just the most important thing. Now, another thing, the working out I've been doing, that's become really important to me, and that's tomorrow morning's a workout day. So I'm going to sleep in Planet Fitness parking lot tonight, so that will just be perfect. I can just go hop right in there. But my food takes preference. Food is the first priority. I encourage you to, if you are finding ways in which this is just a great big pain in the ass, trying to cook all these veggies and keep everything cooked and get things prepped, and if you're finding every way in which this is just kind of not realistic or whatever you're telling yourself, I invite you to just embrace it and love it and make it part of your life, because it will just pay you back tenfold. It pays you back in health, in happiness, in peace. I don't have to fight with food anymore. I don't have to be thinking about where I'm going to stop to get what I want to eat. And it's just, I just have what I want, have what I need, make sure I'm going to have it, and be prepared. Because if I don't prepare, I'm just going to set myself up. My life has been in chaos the past week since I got home. It was last week on Monday and Tuesday when I went to Bill's to have my electric done. So I had my whole van packed because I was leaving and I was going to live in it outside of his shop while for the overnight, so I was there for the next morning. So I had all my stuff in here. So when I got home, I was just like, I'm going on a road trip really soon. I'm going to be leaving really soon. So should I unpack everything, or should I just leave everything and stay in the van? So I was kind of I spent a week, half in and half out. I was mostly in and I was sleeping in it. I was half cooking in it, and I made it work because my food's going to work. But I felt a real peace today when I hit the road. Everything's in one place. I just like that. So I was kind of feeling that the chaos of I was keeping my food in my cooler. I was also testing out my electrical system too. So I had the food in the cooler. So I would get all the chicken out and I would say, well, instead of putting it in the pan in here, I'll bring it upstairs and throw it in the oven. So then I bring it upstairs, then I'm ready to put it in the oven. I'm like, oh, my smoked paprika's in the van. So now I'm back downstairs, get the smoke, and come back up, and it's oh, my tongs are in the van. It's everything is half in the van, half in the house. And so that was kind of a crazy way to live for a week. But I did not stray whatsoever, because it's not an option. But I like right now just having everything, and I got nothing to do. I love that. I've had something to do. You know, if you have a house, you always got something to do. Now I just left it. I got nothing to do. So I'm really grateful. So I hope you're all at peace with this food prep. And if you're not, speak up and just let us know how you're struggling with that, and in what ways are you struggling with that. And perhaps we can give you some ideas. What about you, Nicole?
Yeah, when I think about food prep, I just know for me now that there is never going to be a reason that I would eat off plan, because I do prep my food, and in the olden days when I wasn't on this plan, if I wanted some food and I was hungry, there was nothing stopping me from running out and getting whatever it was. So just as I would run off and say, well, I didn't want to, I want something, I want to eat something, I'd go find it, I'd go to whatever trouble it was to get it. And so I can certainly do that for this plan. And there's only been a couple of times where I've been I didn't time it right, or I happened to be had a couple of appointments and wouldn't get home, and then I just run to the grocery store and buy on-plan foods, and I have my travel scale. So then it's like a raw veggies, carrots and hummus, and rice cake kind of dinner. So it just doesn't really even faze me. Mostly though, I am day in and day out. I know what I'm going to be eating that day and the next day. And I just make sure I have enough veggies that are either ready to be cooked or cooked. And, I think I've mentioned this before, but, I go into the office on Wednesdays. So on Tuesdays, when I'm making my breakfast, I make two, one for Tuesday and one for Wednesday. And when I make my lunch on Tuesday, I make a lunch for Wednesday, because I just don't want to have to have a whole nother prep time later that night. And I'm always thinking ahead, just the one or two meals to make sure, for example, tomorrow night, I'm going to visit a friend at supper time. And so at lunchtime, I'll make my dinner too, so that I don't have to make it right before I need to leave. I like to just, when I'm making something, if I'm going to need another meal that isn't going to be at home, I want to pack it up. And if my plans change and then suddenly I'm home, I have it packed up but ready to go. So I think always thinking ahead like that, just 1 or 2 days can really help. And unless you have a groove down of just knowing how often you need to shop and how much you need to make. And then I would just suggest too, if you haven't, which I know so many of us have, is watching a lot of Lulu's videos, cooking in her little kitchen or in her van, just how whenever you have some time to get something going. Last night I was making steamed green beans at 9 o'clock, because I thought, oh, well, I had made some hard-boiled eggs in the Instant Pot, and I thought, before I wash it, let me see what else I can cook. So, just kind of making use of time like that to do the food prep. And I was raised with, living with my grandma, chopping vegetables, and I love that. I mean, I take all my veggies out, especially when it's nice, to the deck and my cutting boards, and I sit out there and I chop, and I really enjoy that. So it's, during the work week, it's kind of more of a chore. I just got to do this because I have a lot of things to do, and, I have to work. So it's the weekends is just kind of my time to really take my time and cut up a lot of things. And one of the things I love to do is cut up green onions, peppers, little tiny pieces of celery, and put them in mason jars for the week to sprinkle on salads. So I like to do all that kind of thing when I have some time, on a Saturday. But yeah, I think first and foremost, just making the commitment that, they're really, there's no reason that, you have to say, well, I'm not prepared, so I can't stay on the food plan. Because, it's so easy to just go get what you need, and you'll learn right away. I learned right away, I want what I need here so that I don't have to run out last minute, right? But it's pretty easy to just get the food you need. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about food prep. I enjoy it, and I enjoy it more on the weekends, and that's when I do the bulk of it, so that I don't have as much to do during the work week.
Yeah. That's great, Nicole.
Yeah.
And
so
when I go to
that's what I got.
Yeah, and when I go to my meetups, I have like an itinerary where we have activities each day, and I'm sure that nothing's going to start before 10 a.m. And it's not because I'm sleeping in. It's because I'm up early and I am doing my morning routine. I want plenty of time for that. And then I also make my lunch and my dinner, put them in containers, put them in my cooler. They're ready for me for the day, because I'm not going to be scurrying around in between activities and trying to, be running short on time while I'm trying to weigh out salad stuff. So I just have the 2 meals are ready. They're ready for me to just grab right at 12 o'clock and then right at 5 o'clock. And I plan all the activities right around my meals. So if you come to my meetup, you can eat on my schedule, or you can eat while you can eat while you're doing something too. But so it's just about the preparing, And when you were talking, it made me think of that Lady Gaga song, "A Million Reasons." You know that song, "A Million Reasons." I can.
Oh yeah.
I have a million reasons to let you go, but I just need one good reason to stay. So we have a million reasons why, this is hard to do, and it's like, oh my God, and it's too much time, and it's too much money, and it's too blah blah. But you just need one damn good reason to do it, and we all know what that is. And it's less to do with weight. It has to do with weight, because weight, being at a normal size weight, is a very healthy way to be. So, but it's just about feeling great. We just want to feel great.
Yeah, and it's kind of like it's like a love gift to yourself. It's loving yourself to take the time to make your food and make sure it's healthy and it's right, and it's something you get to do every day. And I try to look at it that way, like I get to do this because it's giving me everything I want, my health, first and foremost. So yeah, it's definitely self-love to prepare it.
Yeah, it is.
So, well, let's start with Sherry.
Hi, Sherry.
Hi everybody. I just have this new thing that I'm trying that I thought I'd share, that I kind of accidentally did. I think I mentioned before, I didn't really cook it until Lulu, and now Lulu has taught me how to cook and how to cook healthy. So it's all fun for me. But so I overcooked my carrots once or twice, and I overcooked my cauliflower. Well, you can turn it into like mush. It's like dip, and then I can make I can take those rice cracker stackers and rice cake stackers, I think they're called, and put hummus on them and mushed up carrots like a spread, and mushed up cauliflower, and then I like to dice red, green, yellow, and orange peppers, bell peppers, and sometimes I put radishes in there, and celery and onions, and it's all diced up, and I put that on the top of the hummus dip cracker thing. It's it's my new Friday night dinner.
You
I'm
intentionally overcook the carrots for Friday night?
I am now. The first time I did it wasn't intentional.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. So you just found something that works for you. That's great.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
That's a great recipe, kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah, I'll be trying that.
First overcook your cauliflower, then overcook your carrots.
What's interesting, it doesn't seem like you're eating so many vegetables. How some of us, it's so hard to eat all of those, 16 ounces of vegetables. It doesn't feel like I'm eating as many vegetables. I eat a little bit faster, I think, when I'm using it as dip. So just thought I'd share that.
Good. Excellent, Sherry.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry.
Yeah, I like that tip. Okay, next we have Yvonne.
Hi, Yvonne.
Hey, Hey, it's good to be here. Well, food prep kind of went out of the door this past weekend. Couple of weekends before that, I started doing the food prep on the weekend, which is so much better to get it, because this week has just been, oh my God, it's such a chore, because my husband and I, we do eat basically the same food, but sometimes I want something different from him. So it just means that I'm like in the kitchen almost all day. I might take a couple of hours out to go to the pool, but it feels like I'm in the kitchen all the time, and I'm not happy. Don't like being in the kitchen. So I mean, it's a lesson, you know. I mean, the thing is, I want to do this, and I will do it no matter what, because I feel like there's no time to waste. You know, I'm 67 next month, and I feel like I just don't have the time to mess around anymore. And doing what I've been doing just doesn't work. So I have to find a way to make it work. It's not whether it's going to work, oh, I'm just going to give up because it's too hard. It's no, you've got to just find ways to make it easier, make it better. And so kind of figuring out when is the best time, and just build that into a schedule on the weekend. I mean, we have all the time in the world on the weekends, so there's no reason for me to not do it. So that's really, I think, like you say, it's like probably the most important. I mean, the food, choosing the right foods and preparing the right foods are probably the most important thing to do, because it's so easy for our old habits to come back in and just say, you know, don't bother, just pick up something or whatever. And I can't do that. It's not an option today. So yeah, it's not been such a great week, because I feel like, you know, it's all kitchen time, and it's cleaning, and it's just 3 meals a day that I'm preparing and cleaning up after it. Whereas if it's prepared, there's not so much cleanup, there's not so much to think about. It's just, that's my meal, and you just eat it. So I want it to be enjoyable, but I want it to be like eat to live. You know, the reason why we eat, I mean, we want to make it nice, not fun, but nice. But it's not my entertainment. It's not my lover. It's not it is just strictly food. And I want it ready to go. So I just have to do the work to make sure I do that. My food prep, the couple of weekends before this past weekend, I had prepared it all. This last weekend, I didn't prepare it.
So you couldn't take a Monday, and if you were busy on the weekend and you couldn't do the big prep, could you do a big prep on the Monday for the week? Like you're cooking for two, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so that's a lot of food to cook.
Well, and it's kind of two different meals, because there's certain things that I use that he doesn't use on his food. So it is a little bit different for both of us. But it's not that I don't use a microwave ever. So it's really just, you know, when you're preparing it, it's cleaning and washing the vegetables, and I'm not trying to say like it's a lot of work, but it's certainly better if it's prepared.
Yes.
And you're not doing it every day.
Yeah.
You know.
So if you're going to be cooking chicken, wouldn't you cook like a big, huge sheet pan full of it? And get it all ready? Because that cold cubed up in salads is delicious. Cold cooked chicken.
Yeah. I mean, whatever the protein is, I can certainly prepare it ahead of time. I mean, there's no, you know, it's just a matter of, you know, kind of designating that time, right? Yeah. Sunday for 4 hours. I am just focused on preparing meals.
Yeah.
And I do 3 for my husband so that they're ready to go and I can just put them in the oven. So it's just, I've got to do it. It's not an option. To make my life easier and not to feel like I'm in the kitchen all the time.
Yeah. So you have to cook him different things? You have to cook him different things or just...
I pretty much do, because he's just, I don't always feel like what he has. He's a very, likes everything very plain, and, it's just a different way of eating. So.
But he's eating like the veg and the grain and the
He does eat veg, but he doesn't eat a lot of the veg I eat. So I can do peppers and onions and mushrooms and whatever, whereas he might do, carrots, cauliflower, broccoli. I mean, I'll do some of that too in mine, but it's just, he likes, I guess, plainer food or something. I don't know.
I was going to say, in the beginning, it can be a little bit overwhelming when you're not used to like cranking out as much veggies and things like that. But you'll find a groove. You know what I mean? Like you kind of learned from doing it when you did that chunk and you were ready how well that worked.
Yeah.
And so I think you'll find a groove. I think it gets easier. It just gets more normal, and you kind of know the portions you're going to need. And like I try to always have 3 veggies, at one time kind of thing. And I know like when those wind down, I still have a little left, so just make 1. I kind of know those things, and I go to the store twice a week because I really like fresh the best, but I have frozen and some canned just in case.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, it's, I remember having a lot of dirty dishes, and it was like bonkers in my kitchen for like a couple of weeks, like really. But then I realized, again, like not too far before that, I was busy making a bazillion kinds of other things that was dirtying up all kinds of dishes and taking up all my time baking, and and I never thought, oh, this is cramping my style, but it's kind of like just a getting in a groove kind of thing with how much you're going to need to eat and feed another, and then get a routine going.
Most of our thing was we'd eat out, or I'd pick something up, or it wasn't good, so I was rarely in the kitchen. I might have prepared the food or put it on plates, I mean, literally. But it was, I would just, it's like not fast food, but it's picking up food outside.
Prepared.
Because I hate cooking. I don't like cooking, but I've got to get used to it. I just want to. I want to.
And Nicole, you're cooking for 2 as well, right? You cook for 2, or does he cook too?
Yep.
You are cooking for 2.
He keeps me in rice. He does. Yeah, he keeps me in rice. He does make sure we always have rice, but I cook for both of us. And it's, he's a guy and he eats a lot of the food. So I like, if I made green beans for me, they would last 3 days. They last 1 because he's eating them too. You know what I mean? So I've kind of gotten used to like what he's going to eat. And he's great for saying, well, I'll finish that up. And I'm like, just let me know if you're finishing something up so that I know, what I got to do. Yeah. And sometimes I tell him, like, look, I haven't gone to the store, so you have to leave that for me. You eat something else because I need that for tomorrow morning or whatever. And he's good with that too. But yeah. And some others in this group can weigh in on that. Yeah. I know that some people have families, and they have to kind of guard their food a little bit or make sure that it's prepared and it's still there for them. And there's people who are cooking 2 different kinds of meals because their person isn't willing to eat this plan kind of thing. So other people can definitely weigh in and give you some tips too.
Thank you.
But I think you'll get a groove. I do, because like I said in the beginning, I was pulling out all kinds of things that like, oh, I got to get my food processor and I got to, but that kind of settled down.
Thank you.
Thanks, Yvonne.
Yeah, thanks, Yvonne.
Next, we have Helen B.
Hey, Helen.
Well, first of all, I'm very lucky because when I'm eating on this, for the most part, my husband's on his own. because he eats a lot of stuff that's off plan, and enjoys all that. And so I just kind of do my thing and he does his thing. And then every once in a while it works out that we can do something together. So I'm lucky that way. My theory was I cooked the first 30 years, so it's his turn to cook the next, you know? And so that's what we've been doing. Because we both worked full time. It's not like I was, you know, at home. And so I realized that I didn't have to do all that stuff plus work. So that's what we came up with, and it works for us. The second thing I wanted to say is I've been having a great breakthrough. Because, you know, I was really struggling with eating the vegetables and not really liking them that much. And so I decided I needed an attitude adjustment. So as I was eating, I was talking to myself about how well I'm feeding my body and visualizing it feeding those cells and making those cells happy. Do you know, I actually had a day last week where I was craving a salad. And I thought, oh, I've got to share that sometime because that's a huge breakthrough for me, is to crave a salad.
Nice.
And so, yeah. So I'm doing that now. I've added that to my other vegetables. My fallback when I'm feeling lazy is, I know some people don't like a microwave, but I don't have a problem with it. So I just keep bags of frozen vegetables, and my favorite go-to is green beans, because I don't get tired of those. And it's real easy just to add a few other things to make the weight of the bag come up. And so I just do that. It's really easy. It's quick. I usually have a protein that's really easy if I have to defrost it at the last minute. You know, stick it in some warm water for a while and then fix it. So when I'm feeling, you know, going through kind of a lazy and don't feel like doing the prep and stuff, I have some really quick and easy things I can do. So I'm not tempted to go off plan, and that's been helping me a lot. But I want to get back into the routine of doing the food prep again. But I'm making progress, so that's good. I do have a question though. I'm not real active, and I've been having a lot of struggles with my fibromyalgia, and so I haven't been able to be active. And so I don't get hungry that much. And so what I've kind of been doing is eating breakfast, and then I'll eat my grain and protein, and then my next meal is I do the fruit and a protein, and then for dinner I do you know, the full meal. And I never, so far, now that I'm back and I'm not sneaking sugar, my stomach never growls. I get munchy, like I want to eat something, but I don't get hungry. And so is it okay to do things that way? Because like I say, I'm just not hungry. And I really wasn't losing weight. Now I finally think I'm starting to lose weight again, but I had a set point that I was really struggling to get through, and I think I might have finally broken that barrier. But it doesn't matter because I'm hanging into it whether I lose weight or not, just because it's healthier. So anyway, that's my question is,
Yeah.
am I doing okay?
Well, I always say that, like, you know, if you have a variation or any adjustments that you want to make to the food plan that serves you better, as long as it's working for you, then it's working. But it's like, it's got to work for you. And the biggest thing that I promote is picking something and sticking with it. So don't do the food plan this way sometimes and that way sometimes. I'm going to say that that's not a good idea, because then there's just too much stuff going on up here, you know. I would say if how you're doing breakfast and lunch, if it feels like it's enough for you and that's what you want to make your food plan, I would just kind of cement it, call it your food plan, and that's your food plan. And if it's working, then it works. Then it's Helen's way.
Great.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I'm not feeling hungry and I'm not like dropping a whole bunch of weight doing it that way. You know, I'm not losing too much weight by any means.
Right.
Okay, great. Good news.
Especially where you're very inactive, if you feel like less food is better. But, you know, I just caution anybody that wants to make variations to the plan it's kind of like you just have to ask yourself, like, why do I need to change it? Sometimes people are kind of just looking for a loophole in something, and then it's kind of hard because it gets people off track. But what for me on track is a committed food plan. Just have something that's committed and doesn't vary, because then there's just too many decisions, and I have a history of not making good decisions, so I just need everything really black and white, so if that's your black and white and it's working better for you, just stick with it, at least stick with it month to month, so when you have your next weigh-in, if there's something that you want to, if there's any kind of food change, I like to just make food changes on the first of the month, if there's anything that you need to change, like, oh, I'm losing too much, or I'm still not losing, and you want to do another tweak, So are you totally inactive, like no activity, pretty much?
Very, very little. However, I've had, I think, 3 or 4 pain-free days in a row. So I think I'm ready to start trying to do some simple exercises. And there's some great, videos out there now that you can do chair yoga. And, I can't think of her name, but she does the Zumba. That has come to meets before. And so I started following that.
Leslie?
I don't know, but it's a really gentle, good senior Zumba. And so I did that once, and it didn't make me sore, but it was fun. And so I want to start doing that. So, and one thing I want to say to the new people is it's taking me a while to realize the benefit of so many things that are part of this plan, because eating so many vegetables, for one thing, you're eating vegetables, and you can eat a ton of them, and it's not going to put a lot of weight on you, but it satisfies that chewing urge. So you're getting satisfaction in a lot of ways that aren't just about the food, and the routines, and there's just parts of that are so beneficial, but it's taken me a while to go, oh, gee, that's why it's this way. It really works because it's taking care of this problem, or it's taking care of that problem. And so there's a lot of benefits to this that just aren't real apparent at the beginning, but as you start to do it more, it becomes more obvious. So hang in there, folks.
Yeah, good. And like a lot of us are typically interested in volume. I have a history of volume. And this food plan is, like you said, the vegetables, there's a lot of them, and it's volume. You get a really good sized meal. Like, I can think back to like meals I used to have on a diet, like, oh my God, just be like eating like a bird. I remember I had like a chicken breast. It was on the bone, and I remember like it was all I could have was that. And I remember just like I was like eating like around every teeny rib. Like, who does that? On a chicken. And it was like, I was like, it's because I was starving. I was starving. I didn't have any vegetables, and it was just crazy, So this is a great food plan. It's just a nice balance. You can't not feel good. You got to feel good when you do this, Just like.
Well, I have to admit that even when there's all that food, I still eat every veggie on the plate. And if I have a pork chop that I've squeezed all the fat out of, I still chew every little morsel of meat off that little pork chop bone,
Yeah, I have every bite too. Every single bite.
Yeah, I kind of look at it as insurance too. Like, eating all the 16 ounces of veggies for me, I might not be hungry, like, oh, I'm really hungry for this, but it's like I know I'm not going to have cravings or be hungry in between meals because I've satisfied, my nutritional needs, and I'm not going to sit there craving and being hungry. So it's sort of like, even if I'm like, oh, I could probably eat a little less of this, I eat it anyway because I just know it carries me through the whole day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, my cravings are just munching. I mean, just to have something to do, not because I'm really hungry. And so like I say, I so far have not been truly hungry. It's more of that mental doing something with my time kind of thing.
Right.
Where there's nightly routines of munching on stuff. So, and one thing is I finally came up with a salad dressing I love. And so that helped a lot too, because I was just really having a hard time finding something I liked on my salad. So anyway, that's it. Thanks, everybody.
Good. Thanks, Helen.
Thanks, Helen. Next, we have Julie.
Hi, Julie.
Hi. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. So I work 50 hours a week. I cook for 3 people. My husband works overnights and I work during the day. So the only meal I have to prepare for him is something to take to work. So this week I have tried different ways, tips and tricks to try to combine cooking for both of us. So if I'm boiling pasta water for him and he wants shrimp Alfredo with broccoli, while I'm boiling his pasta water, I'm steaming my vegetables. So I'm prepping my food, but I'm also making his daughter stuff. So another thing is protein. I stopped making 2 meals. I made stew beef the other night for him. But before I put the flour in it and all of the stuff that I'm not having, I simply stewed the meat in beef broth, compliant beef broth. And then I removed my meat and then I thickened up his with the gravy and stuff. Food prep is just not an issue for me. It's if I don't prep, that's an issue. Then I don't have anything to eat. If I'm going to be reading a book or watching television or scrolling Facebook, why not have a pan of vegetables in the oven roasting while I'm doing that?
Right.
So to me, it doesn't take time because I'm sitting here anyway, so I might as well be prepping something, and I prep something every day. The dishes, it does get a bit much sometimes. It's like, oh my God, but I'm also taking care of my mom, so, cooking Mark's meal and my meal and then my mom's meal. But the food prep, if you, 2 birds with 1 stone, like I said, if you're boiling water for something else, steam vegetables at the same time. Carrots and string beans take 7 minutes in the steamer with the water at a full boil. So to me, prepping is just think it out first and do it smarter, not hard.
Time management.
Yes, time management.
Yep. I know exactly what you mean. Like I will before I'm going to sit down and edit a video, I'll be like, before I do that, let me just throw some sweet potatoes in the oven. Or
exactly.
get the Instant Pot out, throw something in. And then, just multitasking, time management. Yep. Good.
Before you know it, your fridge is stocked.
Right. Yeah, good. That's a good tip, Julie.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Julie. Next, we have Julie in Oklahoma.
Hi, Julie.
Hi, everybody. Hi. Like a lot of y'all, you've probably discovered Lulu on YouTube in a band live situation. And one of her favorite videos, for me at least, is the gadget videos. And for meal prep, I discovered one of her gadgets besides the Instant Pot. That's like probably the number one. But this is the second favorite of mine, and it was on one of your gadget videos. It's called the vacuum sealer. And what it does is it comes with, for meal prep, for me, it's great. I can cook up a batch of chicken, weigh it out in the ounces, put it in the little bag that it comes with, and it'll seal it in just a few seconds, and it's airtight. You can put avocados in here, they'll last for a few days. You can put anything, you put it in the freezer, you can put it in the refrigerator, whichever. But like you say, the time management, trying to weigh it out as I go, it helps me just so I can grab and go in the future. And so I do like to organize like that. And as far as husbands go, my husband, he saw that my numbers, I've been going to the doctor off and on for every 6 months or so, and my numbers have been so much better. My cholesterol, since being on Lulu's plan, has gotten so much better. He's actually jumped on board and eating the big ass salads and the whole bit, so it's, we're pulling him in. He's coming in, but he's doing it. He's doing it. And but yeah, that was my biggest tip or biggest thing that I have found for meal prep for me. It works real well. That's all I have to say.
That's good. And you know, like, yeah, as soon as you get the air off the food, it's going to just last so much longer. And
Yeah.
I don't have that one. One would be good for the road, but I have the food saver, the regular food saver.
The big one.
Yeah, that you put the thing in. It's the big thing. And like if I'm home and if I cooked like, you know, like 3 pounds of chicken, right? It's just me. I would take half of that, put it in one of those bags, take all the air out, and I know like when I open that, it's almost like the day I sealed it, you know. So then I go through the other half, and then get to that next half, you know. Yeah.
Airtight. Mm-hmm.
So do you know that there's a men's plan for hubby? Like hubby gets more food than you?
Well, you know, I forgot about that. I have not looked that up for him.
Yeah.
I think so far he's doing what I'm doing, and he's, you know, I mean, it's working so far. But I'll have to get that one out maybe and show it. See if he's doing pretty good just on mine. So we're going.
Yeah.
So
he's not too hungry.
He doesn't feel deprived or anything. He's not, you know, he's fairly, he eats a lot of extra protein powder. You know, he does do that. He'll add, like to the cottage cheese, you know, he'll put a bunch of whey, I think it is. I don't do that, but he does that. You know, so he does other stuff a little bit more. So he doesn't follow me exactly,
Okay.
but I'll have to, get that one out, maybe show it to him next.
Yeah. Good. Well, I'm grateful you're here, Julie. Sounds like you're and thank you for the idea on that. Yeah, that's a good little thing. That's a good one
That
for
was
van
whoever
life.
your
Little
your
thing.
gadget
Yeah.
gal there, whoever did that. Yeah.
Good.
Thank you, Julie.
Welcome.
Next, we have Liz.
Hi, Liz.
Hi, everybody. I just want to add a couple of things. Kathleen talked about this a few months ago, and it's so helpful. It's such a key, and that is getting the right containers. And the Rubbermaid Brilliance containers are awesome. And so I have never been a person who could cook the meal and then eat it. I have never been able to do that because I'm too hungry. Like I have for like my whole life, even in my 20s, I have always had to have food prepared before I'm hungry. So that is, I don't know what that means with blood sugar, or I don't know, but I don't have the patience. I don't know what it is, but I've always figured out that I know I'm going to be hungry in the future. So I need to make the food in advance. So when I'm hungry, it's there ready for me. I have to cook for myself, and I work, and my husband, who is like the previous woman, I'm sorry, I can't remember your name. He works a night shift. We work opposite shifts, and my 23-year-old son, who is a student, and he eats a lot. And my husband eats a lot too. So when I prepare the food, I do like what that woman earlier said. I'll make the protein, and then I will, in a compliant way, and then I take my portions, and I put them in the Rubbermaid Brilliance containers in a drawer that is separate. That's my drawer. That's where my food goes. And then their protein, which is always many pounds of protein, many different proteins. I probably do 3 different a week proteins, and they're in the Rubbermaid Brilliance, but just the larger Rubbermaid Brilliance containers. And then in the back of the refrigerator where it's really, really cold. And I don't have a problem keeping up with all of them how much they eat, and they don't eat my food because my food's already been measured out, and all of the sauces and the gravies and all that extra stuff that they love is in their part of the food, and they enjoy it, and they serve themselves however much they want. And I always publish a menu for the week, and I just text it out. It's basically the same every week, but they like to see it. I don't know why. It's the same thing, but and so they just follow that, and now they know what to eat on that day. And it's easier to have the food done in advance of you needing it. So if you can do it a day in advance for what you're going to eat the next day, great. Then if you think about it, if you're making a salad, why not make 2 or 3? Because it's the same amount of effort, just a little bit more effort to make 3 salads for you than it is to make 1. But you've got to have the right containers. You have to be ready with lots of those really good Rubbermaid Brilliance containers, or the vacuum sealer. That could work as well. You've got to have those pieces ready. And other thing I wanted to say is that night, for the woman who said that she feels like sometimes she gets the munchies, Barbara had mentioned this very early on, and I'm telling you, it works so well. Chamomile tea is wonderful. Chamomile tea is like a mild sedative, and it really kind of calms you down, and it calms that part that races in the mind. I want something. I want some food. I want whatever. I want to chew whatever. Chamomile tea, there's many different kinds of chamomile teas, and that really works for me. I hope it works for you if you try it. I have I think of it as like a dessert bar of different chamomile teas, and I look, what one do I want tonight? And so for me, that's my special treat that I give myself at night, is a chamomile tea. And that really eradicates all of that crazy thinking that I used to have before I ate this way. So I hope some of this helps you out. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, Liz. I agree with you on the Rubbermaid Brilliance. If you don't have those containers, that's the only way you're going to make 3 salads ahead of time, and for that third one to still be good, is the Rubbermaid Brilliance. Yeah, just don't put. I don't put the oil and the vinegar on until right before I'm going to eat it. I don't want to get put. That's what I do, but but everything else stays really fresh, and it's like those containers are amazing.
Yeah, they are. And one more thing I wanted to mention, I found this by, I don't know, some video on YouTube. It's the way you stack the salads. If you put the wetter ingredients first, like for instance, the cucumbers, the celery, the onions, those down in the container first. And then at the end is the ones, the stuff that you don't want to wilt, like the spinach or the leaves, the
heavy stuff,
lettuce,
the heavy stuff
or
at the bottom.
Yeah, that's how you've got to do it, and it will last.
Yeah.
But if you put that stuff that kind of, it's watery on top of your lettuce, you're done.
Yeah.
So how you build it is important too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Good tips. Good tips, Liz.
Yep. Thank you, Liz. Next, we have April from down east.
Hi, April.
So I'm one of the non-talkers, and I chose to talk tonight.
Oh, good. You've been here for a while?
I've been here since November.
Oh,
yeah.
Good.
And I'm down 33 pounds,
Wow.
and the plan is ideal.
Nice.
Ideal. Yep.
Oh, I'm
I
so
pretty
glad
much
to-
lost a pound. Yeah. And Lulu, you look fantastic.
I do?
Fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
You do.
I feel great.
All your working out is totally noticeable. Like in your arm.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been noticing it too. I can feel it. Everything pays off. All this stuff, the hard work with the food, preparing the food, turning foods down that are not on your plan, working out when you don't feel like it. It just all pays off.
Yeah. So I don't have a lot of tips, but I'm a non-planner. So I have had to become a planner to prepare the meals. So I'm also a non-morning person, and I work every day, 5 days a week. So I've had to prepare my breakfast the night before. Well, I do batches of like steel oats, and then I just always have fruit and always have yogurt to add to it. But I get that ahead of time, and then every so often I just have eggs. But for me to fry up an egg, the non-morning person, challenge. So the other thing that I do every single night is I get my lunch for the next day ready, because if I don't, I'm not going to get out the door. So I simplify. I use a lot of frozen vegetables. I eat a lot of broccoli, and broccoli is like a big portion of my lunch. And then I just use carrots or celery as the cut up other portions. And then I just always have a protein that's ready to go. And I just think if something doesn't work for you, just find something that does. Like I was trying to force myself to do salads and all this stuff, and I just found that I was letting stuff sort of go to waste. So I chose not to do salads. But now I'm using romaine, and I found that each romaine heart I can do one salad and add the other things to it, and then I just mix and match that in. But and the other thing, keep in mind too, that sometimes I found in the past that it's a situation called timeliness. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but we think something's going to take a really long time to do, and then if you timed it, it's probably 2 minutes. Yeah. So like you're like, oh, I could never do those dishes before I go to bed, and then it's like you time yourself and it's 5 minutes and the kitchen is good to go.
Yeah.
So I
That's good.
I was addicted to sugar, and once sugar cleared out of my system, I can plan things and think to do things just so much clearer. And I think if you started on the plan early, it does take a lot of preparation, like Nicole said. You're very busy preparing, but as you get more used to what you need for volumes, you just figure it out. So
you get in.
But good luck, and you guys are doing great.
Yeah. You're in the groove. You're in the groove, April.
Oh, I'm loving it.
Oh.
I never dieted in my life, and I am loving the balanced food that I'm eating. I'm loving it.
And what else, other than losing weight, what else have you noticed has changed for you since November?
Well, okay, nothing has changed at work, and I am the most happy person. I look forward to going to work. Nothing has changed there, personnel wise, and I have changed myself.
You're managing those relationships.
I'm
better.
just like, I'm all about it. I'm just
Wow.
And I've got 2 of my 3 sisters. They're not fully on the plan, but they are doing it.
Yeah.
And a good friend of mine also is interested. So
you're the example.
It's just, it's not like I'm preaching it, but it's like, well, see how it's changed.
You're a demonstration. You're a demonstration of it. You don't need to preach it. You can just demonstrate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Just feel great. You got to get a belt if you're new to the system, because you're going to run through the pants. And you've got to get prepared, order a pair of pants ahead of time, because I lost my, you talk about the big ass salad. Well, I lost my big ass, and I couldn't figure out why my pants wouldn't stay up. And so I had to get a belt and cinch it up until I could get me pants.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Good. You must feel great.
I feel fantastic. Yeah. I'm down to probably the weight I was in 2007, 2005, something like that. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh,
all right.
Thank you so much for opening up and speaking with us.
Maybe in a few weeks I'll share more about my background.
Oh, good. Yeah, let us get to know you, April. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
Yeah,
All
good.
right, good night.
But I am sorry for the interruption, but you're in the middle of talking and this car just come by and they're like, Lulu, this couple. They're like, Lulu. And they're like, can we stop? And I'm like, I'm on a Zoom right now. So they're pulled over there waiting for me to finish with my Zoom. I don't even know who it is.
Lulu in the wild, spotted in the wild.
Yeah, you can't miss me.
Well, we have some special slides to share, but before we do that, Lulu, did you want to tell us about your new plan for weighing on the road on the first of the month on the scale?
So I got a scale for the van, and I was thinking about it. I was like, these two winters in a row, I'm like, I've been gone longer periods of time now, and I'm like, I want to know monthly. So I was like, but I just have that scale. It's the same scale I've had since I've been 19 years old. It's like the only scale I want. That's the scale I want, So, but it's huge. It's like one of those, like the dial is like at your waist high, so when you stand on it, it's like a doctor scale kind of a thing. So I broke down and bought a scale, just a regular size one. And I put it on the floor. I tested it. I put on one of my 8-pound dumbbells and one of my 3-pound dumbbells, and I put it on, and it weighed 11 pounds. So I was like, it's spot on, okay? I thought this out first. How am I going to weigh myself with these conditions that I want? I want first thing in the morning, before I eat or drink anything, after I pee, totally naked. How am I going to do that on the road? So I thought about it. I thought about how I can do it instead of how I can't do it. And I came up with 2 ways I can do it. 2 ways. I can either pull up to any place, like any restroom really, and like in Walmart, anything, with a bag that has the scale in it, because it's not really that big. So I have like a bag over my shoulder, and then I just put it on the floor, and then I take my clothes off and weigh myself, and then put my clothes back on. That's one way. The other way is that I can do it right here. I can get out, I can put it on the ground, I can weigh myself, then I can get in the van and I can take all my clothes off and weigh them and subtract it. That's my idea. So one of those 2 ways can work. So I have it, and I found a spot for it right behind my kitchen. I found a little slot, and I was like, it's right back there behind the wall, and so it's not in my way or anything. So that's the new plan, is I will be weighing on the road. So I will not get out.
Very cool.
I will not get out here naked and do that. Trust me. That would be just awful.
I was envisioning a headlamp and a sheet, and
oh no, that weighs too much.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that either.
I don't even like to put my glasses on when I weigh myself, except I can't see, so I have to. I'm like, what do these glasses weigh?
Great.
Oh, they weigh like an ounce. Oh, okay. I can't subtract
that. Is great. Oh, well, thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
I'm going to share my screen now. We have some special slides, and let me just be patient with me, because
so a lot of people have asked for my before and afters, so I decided to share. But not before and after. It's not before and after. It's then and now.
That's then and now.
Yep.
So.
Okay, here we go. So this.
Can you see my screen?
Yes. So this was me. I was 28 years old, and I just finished a diet, like a starvation diet, and I remember being very happy this day. We were at somebody's wedding. We went to a wedding, and but yeah, I looked like this for about 3 days before I was back in the food again. But yep, that's me, 28 years old.
Just as cute as a button.
Oh, yep. And that was natural. That my hair was natural right there. Jeez, dark hair, huh? And then things started happening. I started getting a little on the hefty side.
But dancing, it looks like.
Yeah, I think I was probably drunk. I was probably, it was some party. Now this one, that's my son on my lap, so he was like, not even 1. And I think that was right around the time I was probably my heaviest. Like you can see like behind my arm, how far back my body begins. You can see it's like I was just, I think that wasn't my top weight. I don't even think I have a picture of me at my top weight, but that's about as close to my top weight. Yep.
Singing your heart out.
Singing my heart out. Now that's my daughter. She looks like she's probably about 8 there, so that would have been in, and I had her when I was 30, so I was 38 there. And again, not my heaviest. I can't find any pictures of me at my heaviest, but I would say this one and the one before that is probably the closest. I remember I loved that white dress because it was just like, I felt like it covered everything, but it really didn't. And this one, I was kind of really big at this one too. Yeah. Just a big girl. God
And
bless.
look at you in that gorgeous turquoise outfit on the right.
Thank you.
So pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, you see.
Must be a birthday.
Yeah, it was somebody's birthday. Let's see, how many candles are there? somebody's like 8th birthday or something. I just wore the big oversized clothes, because I just wanted to hide everything. And I just, when I say that I feel better today than I did when I was 25, I really mean it. I just feel in every way I feel better. So very, very grateful that I found the determination and I felt like I had the sense knocked into me. It's like, like if not now, when? When I'm half dead, it's like, from hurting myself and just not being nourished, and so today is a different life.
Just amazing, that transformation. I love this picture of you with the polka dots. Yeah, just kicking it.
Just kicking it. Kicking ass.
That's right. Thank you for sharing those with us.
Oh, you're welcome. A lot of people have asked for those. And it's not that I don't share them. I shared them once on this meeting a while ago, not in a slideshow. I just held them up.
You held them up.
Yeah. Thank you, Nicole. And isn't it cool? We didn't even have to cycle into the next topic. We just...
Yep, they can sometimes take a while.
You know something? Yeah, we just have things to talk about. So now we'll move. No, so what's the next one on the list?
The next one we're going to talk about is motivation.
Okay, so then that will be next week, and it will either be the whole meeting or half the meeting, depending on hands raised. Yep. And yeah, so I hope everybody likes this format, and if you have any suggestions or for topics or just suggestions in general about it, we're always open to hear anything. So
Yep. Seattle Sue, what did you want to say?
Oh, that's great. I was laughing with April when she had to get a belt for her pants. And April, I have a pair of pajama bottoms I just really love. And I walked right out of my pajama bottoms in the middle of the night, tripping and falling the whole way to the bathroom. So I'm like, oh, rats, I'm going to have to throw these out. Well, I washed them and I wore them again. Same thing happened. I think I finally got rid of them. But anyway, that was kind of funny. Made me think of that. But, for motivation, Lulu, I can't tell you when I need good cooking ideas, going back to watching your cooking ideas on YouTube are so helpful, and finding the vegetables that serve you well, And for me, I get a whole bag of carrots, cut them up kind of big and hunky, and about 5 cups of frozen green beans from Costco. Cook them together 7 to 8 minutes, steam them, And that's in the fridge for a week. They just last forever. Cabbage is a go-to. That cold or hot, it's wonderful. Zucchini. But like even today, just an example is I needed to bump up my salad and I didn't want to cut into another green pepper. So I grabbed a handful of the pre-cooked vegetables in the fridge and upped up my ounces for my salad. But also having the green beans from Costco, they sell like a 12 pack of the canned green beans, really good price. And having the beets and the artichoke hearts, those are just, and having those ready to go in the fridge, where you don't have to mess with messy beet juice everywhere. But anyway, that's all I was going to say. Just that prepping is so important. Yes. And finding what serves you well, that's there for days that don't. I'm done with. I've messed up so much broccoli. I'm kind of done with it for a while. Got to find what serves you well.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Excellent. Thanks, Sue. Good tips.
Helen, I just wanted to mention someone in the chat asked, and maybe you wouldn't mind sharing, if now that you're not having sugar, do you notice a difference in the pain of fibromyalgia when you removed it from your diet?
That's been a disappointment for me because I thought that would be one of the benefits, but it hasn't happened. The fibromyalgia lately, if I do anything, like I had to replace the glides in a drawer in our kitchen, and just doing that, my ribs got really sore and painful, and then the fibromyalgia just locks into it, and it just wouldn't let go. But it finally did. So no, that hasn't been a big thing, but I do think that once I get more weight loss and keep eating healthy like this, I do think I will feel better eventually. Just by eating healthier food and being on more of a plan, I think it is going to pay off.
Yeah, I think so too. That's exactly what I was going to ask you, if you were where you were in your weight loss journey. So if you have more weight to lose, perhaps the closer you are to your ideal weight, maybe you'll see some difference in those symptoms, maybe.
Right, and it won't be so hard to move,
Right.
It won't be so stressful on my body.
Yeah, good.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for sharing that. Yep, and keep us posted.
Yes.
Okay.